Guys. So Josh Rosen played his first preseason snaps with the Browns, as far as I'm aware, yesterday, and people are dunking on him online because that's just what happens, right? He put up a gruesome stat line, something like 7 of 20 for like 80 yards. Grotesque, not fun to look at. And naturally, everybody that doesn't actually pay attention to football but likes the drama is posting something snarky about Josh Rosen on Twitter. I figured before the All-22 even comes out, I would go ahead and actually grade every throw Josh Rosen made, every drop back he took, and show you exactly what I'm looking at, because I didn't think it was that bad. So without further ado, here's Josh Rosen's first pass. Ball's at about the 14, and that throw goes till about the 44. It's a 30 air yard pass to Javon Wims. And yeah, it looks like a jump ball, but when you see the replay, you'll see why it was such a good throw. In fact, I graded this throw as great. So you'll see that Wims isn't quite gaining ground. Laying it over the top might not be the best way to put the ball on him. Instead, Javon Wims, who is a jump ball receiver, gets a ball over the DB's head. The DB's in a trailing position, so it's not going to get to him. Or, so he's not going to get to it. And it's right there for Wims to grab. Now, Wims struggles with it, puts the ball back in harm's way because he doesn't high point the ball like Alshon Jeffrey. And yes, it would have been better if the ball was about 2 feet further upfield so that Wims could just catch it and stay running. That's the difference between an elite throw and a great throw, but it went 30 yards and it was very accurate and very catchable. That's a great play. That's really positive. Here on his second throw, Rosen is not quite as good. First of all, the pass is just incomplete. It's inaccurate. That's bad, right? But what's worse, if you bear with me here, so right here he's got a clean pocket, and he's got dudes who are about to break open. The issue is that he sees this defensive end start to crash, and instead of stepping up and through into the pocket, he tries to run around the edge, which just causes more problems. So you see how he bends out the outside, and that gives the defensive end a free run at him. He could have salvaged this by making an accurate throw, but he doesn't, so that's it. It's a bad play. We move on. Alright, 3rd and 5, a little bit of crunch time at midfield, and that's an accurate ball to the sideline, 10 yards downfield, in time. Not much better. Couldn't ask for much better. Good throw. So watch this as Josh Rosen, who's supposed to be unathletic and weak-armed, slings this ball in there, and yeah, it doesn't go too far downfield, but you can see the traits. So it's a pedestrian throw, but he gets a plus move for evading pressure, and again, the zip is evident. And finally, this ball, I had to watch it back a few times. I'll save you the trouble. It gets tipped at the line by defensive end, right, or the defensive tackle right there, who's jumping up and down excited, beating his chest. It's still a bad throw. Tip balls are bad, but it's more of a decision-making thing than an accuracy thing, so the traits are still there, which is encouraging. On his first drive, Josh Rosen has a great throw, a solid throw, a pedestrian throw, and 2 bad throws with a plus pocket movement. That is a very good drive. Alright, drive 2. First down, play action, little rollout. That's a tough ball to grade. He had great zip. He got that ball there in a hurry, but it wasn't very accurate. You'll see better on this view. You want to put this ball a little further to the outside shoulder. You want that ball about 2 to 3 feet to the right of Rosen, to the left of the receiver, just so he can run into it and give himself a better chance at yak, because as you can tell, that's about 15 yards of yak just sitting there for the taking, and because the ball is behind the receiver a little bit, it gets cut into. This would be a good throw if it was on the mark. As it stands, I have to give it a pedestrian. It's not bad because the amount of zip he put on it made it catchable, made it proper, but certainly it could have been a better throw. 2nd and 10. I don't know what the hell he was doing there. And you can see all the receivers. We don't need an all 22. It was a stupid play design. Everything was all bunched up and easy to cover. But Rosen really just fixated on this quick slant. I think right about here, he decided he wasn't going to throw the swing pass. He hadn't seen the tight end on the slot right uncover yet with the short curl. And so he had decided he has to go with his backside slant no matter what. And that's... I mean, so it's not illegal contact because it's within 5 yards, but that defender was playing extremely aggressively, as is intelligent to do so. And Rosen just got caught in the middle of it. It's not great. It's a bad play. 3rd and 10, Rosen between a rock and a hard place, and it only gets worse because his offensive line can't hold up for him and his receivers can't uncover. Alright, Rosen's back for his 3rd drive, right at midfield. First play, jump ball, look at that, gains yardage. Now, this isn't quite as good as the first jump ball. Remember, the line of scrimmage is about the 50-yard line. This ball only goes to about the 25, so it's 5 yards shorter. Additionally, it's more difficult. So you'll notice, and I'm sorry the resolution is terrible, he puts it behind the receiver and up. Now, this is good if you're trying to do a jump ball, but if you're going to do a jump ball, first of all, you should try to err on the side of throwing in stride rather than jump balls. And second of all, you want to keep this ball right over the defender's head. You don't want it over one of his arms because A, it's easier to get batted away. They're just going to put their hands up like they're doing the YMCA dance, and that ball can get got. It can't get got if it's directly over his noggin. Additionally, it's easier for the wide receiver to catch because there's less obstruction in his line of sight, and typically the defender's head is perfectly lined up with the receiver's chest. So that ball needs to be another foot inside. That'll help the receiver keep his feet in bounds. It'll make it an easier catch. Instead, the receiver has to turn around because he is thrown off by the positioning of the ball, and that's what brings one of his feet out of bounds. This is a very tough throw to grade. I would probably grade it as good because it was catchable, and an NFL receiver does typically come down with that. I don't know who number 17 is, and he's not going to play on Sundays, probably ever again. So I will grade this as good, knowing that it would have been great if the ball was directly over the helmet, and knowing that reasonable minds can differ, and this could be pedestrian depending on how you see things. But 25 yards downfield, catchable, just a matter of getting your feet in bounds, that's not on the quarterback. But again, stat line, don't look great. It's a good throw, it shows talent and decision making, but box stats, you know. So Kevin Stefanski takes the ball out of his quarterback's hands, as he is wont to do, and we move to drive 4. Alright, so I think this is the second to last drive for Rosen, and they are backed all the way up. It is 3rd and 3. Again, this is just not Rosen's fault. You can't even grade this play. The wide receiver clearly gets his legs taken out, and you'll notice that this is the only option Rosen has. A layman might say, oh, he's lucky he didn't get picked, but a gentleman and a scholar knows that you can't even grade this play. It's just too much dynamism. Who knows if that receiver gets to the ball in time? I think it does. I think it's probably a good throw, but I will hold off because I don't want to seem biased. Now, here's another great one. 2nd and 6. This is a dart. You can't see the ball right here because it's buried inside of wide receiver number 16's chest. And look at all that room for yak. But, oh, no, wide receiver number 82's chest, sorry. That is a pedestrian throw at the least, and it turns into another incompletion. Keep on looking at those box scores, and I'll keep on watching what actually happened. 3rd and 6, little dump off. I don't love it. I typically don't second-guess decision-making, but it also doesn't seem like there was a ton out there for him to get. You could argue that the vertical route at the top of the screen, and by vertical I mean 10-yard curl because it's a Kevin Stefanski offense. You could argue that that's open. I would argue that it's going to be really hard to get the ball over those two middle-tier defenders, that linebacker and that flat defensive back. But Rosen gives his team a chance. He puts the ball to a fullback in space, hopes he can run through a defensive back. That's pedestrian. And on 4th down, real easy little flat. Everybody forgot about the tight end, as it were. We live to keep fighting. Nice pocket evasion by Rosen here. Rolls out, and there's just not a lot he can do. You'll notice once again, he could throw the ball all the way across his body to number 81 here at the top right corner of your screen. That would have been a good play. Rosen's not known for that. Right here, he should throw the ball to 40, but again, not known for this. It's a throwaway. It's a plus move for evading the sack, but it is not a positive throwaway. There were options. Third and 9, and yet another ball goes through number 82's hands. That guy's not making the team. That should have put him in 4th and 1. That was a good throw, legitimately, but now he's on 4th and 9, up a creek without a paddle. Now this ball is just bad. I don't know what he was looking at. We don't get the wide enough screen to make a great judgment. It looks like he was trying to go for that double-covered curler in the middle of the field. That's a bad throw. I don't think it was quite pickable because he put enough velocity on it, but it was even too fast to quite get to for that defender. But bad throw by Rosen. I understand if you want to call it acceptable, and I will note that. Alright, the final drive, and as somebody who had money on Eagles -1, I am so ready. That was a bad throw. The receiver could have had it, but he didn't because it was way over his head. Not great. That was not a bad throw. The receiver should have caught it. It hit him in the fucking thigh. And now we got a false start, making matters more difficult. Third and 15, and Josh Rosen just. That was the worst throw of the day for my money. 4th and 15, tons of pressure, steps up, wings it deep, and oh boy did he. Now, I would argue if there's some pass interference on this play. We're going to watch it one more time. Nice pocket movement from the 15-yard line to the 35-yard line on the other side of the field. That is a 55-yard throw. Take that, everybody that thinks Josh Rosen might not have a strong arm. And here's the portion where we're going to go over. You'll see this is quote-unquote hand fighting at the top of your screen here. Number 16 gets caught up pretty well. I think it's number 16 this time. Yeah, he gets caught up pretty goddamn well. It's not an unreadable pass because I still don't think he gets there. It's bad, but all in all, Josh Rosen ended the day with a great pass, 3 solid passes, and 6 pedestrian passes, to go with 7 bad passes, one of which could have been interceptable. Now 7 of 20 translates to roughly a 35% completion percentage, and by roughly I mean quite exactly. That's bad. That's real bad. However, being 10 of 17 on aimed passes, not quite as bad now, is it? And some of this seems to have been because of miscommunication. There were 2 plays, particularly the third down on the final drive and a second down on the 4th drive. They seem to be miscommunications, so you could even take 2 off of that and say that he was accurate on 67% of his passes. It still wouldn't be great. However, we did have a good positive play rate, and he did show more than adequate traits in this game. Working with backups in a terrible offensive scheme, drops galore. Frankly, I think that this game by Josh Rosen was about a C+. It was solid. I'm not writing home about it. It wasn't Sam Howell versus the Panthers level. It wasn't Marcus Mariota versus the Lions level. But it's one of the better preseason backup quarterback performances we've seen so far this preseason. And again, that is saying almost nothing. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me borrow a few minutes of your time here. And with that, hasta.